Margaret Pole, Blood on the Grass. There are moments in the tower's history that linger, not because they were loud, not because they were grand, but because they were deeply, deeply disturbing. On the 27th of May 1541, an elderly woman walked out onto Tower Green. She was nearly 70 years of age, a formidable age in Tudor England. Her name was Margaret Pole. She was the last of the Plantagenet blood, the daughter of George Plantagenet, niece to the kings Edward IV and Richard III. In truth, her lineage was older, arguably stronger than that of the Tudor king who condemned her to death, Henry VIII. But bloodlines here at the Tower have a habit of becoming death warrants. She had been imprisoned here at the Tower for over 2 years, not for raising an army, and nor for leading a rebellion, but because it was her son, Cardinal Reginald Pole, that had dared to criticise Henry's break with Rome. Now, like a spoiled child, if the king could not reach the son, he reached for the mother. That morning, there was no roaring public spectacle, as was customary with executions, just a small scaffold built on Tower Green in the damp grass. The quiet presence of Tower officials stood silently, watching. They knew that this was highly uncomfortable. Margaret was told to lay prostrate upon the floor, with her neck upon the block in front of her. She refused. Whether her exact surviving words were accurately accounted for, we cannot say, but the sentiment is clear. She would not call herself a traitor. She would not perform submission for a lie. Eventually, she was forced down by Tower guards. The executioner was not skilled, unlike that who dispatched Anne Boleyn so cleanly. He was a local lad, a local axeman, young, inexperienced, and on that day, incredibly nervous. He lifted his axe, and unceremoniously, he brought it down with full force. It did not end her life. The blade struck badly, tearing into the flesh at the side of her neck, biting into her shoulder and bone. Blood gushed from the gaping wound, dark, heavy, soaking her clothing and splashing across the boards of the scaffold. There was a terrible gasp from the officials watching. She was still alive. The executioner struck again and again and again. The sound, according to later accounts, was sickening. Steel meeting bone. The dull, brutal rhythm of blows that should have only been one. Some chroniclers claim that it took 10, 11 strikes. Now that number may have been exaggerated over the years, but what is beyond dispute is that this is no clean death. It was a hacking. An elderly woman of royal blood, butchered on the grass inside the walls of the tower. It was all over. The scaffold was soaked in blood, her white hair clotted red. The executioner himself shaken by what he had just done. This was not justice. The living was ceremony. It was fear made of flesh. Nearly 3 centuries later, she would be beatified by Pope Leo XIII. To many, she became a martyr. But on the morning of 1541, she was simply the last Plantagenet lady, destroyed not for what she had done, but for who she was. Now I have stood many times quietly on Tower Green before the tourists arrive, thinking of that terrible time in the tower's history. You can almost feel it, not the shouting, nor the politics of the day, just the weight of tragedy.